Welcome all. I'm joined today by Stefan Müller-Altermatt, a member of the Swiss Parliament. He is here as part of a delegation from the Swiss Parliament to Armenia. So Mr. Müller-Altermatt, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
To start off, can you tell me a bit more about this Swiss delegation from the Parliament visiting Armenia? What was the purpose of the visit? I know the visit hasn't ended, but what was the experience like so far? And what will you and your colleagues be taking back to Switzerland? What will you say when you get back?
Well, shortly we are here to react on the actual dramatic things that happened on 13th of September. We are clearly here to condemn what happened there. We have the impression, we are the friendship group, Switzerland, Armenia, and we have the impression that in Western Europe it is not enough clearly spoken out what happened. It is not clearly enough spoken out that we have an aggressor and we have a victim. And that's why we are here to say to our Armenian colleagues and to the government, we know what happens and we stand with you. That's the main purpose of our visit.
Mm-hmm. And as the visit goes on, I understand that you and your colleagues will also visit Jermuk, which is one of the towns in southern Armenia which was shelled by Azerbaijani forces between September 13th and 14th. Is that true as well?
Yes, we will go to Jermuk on Sunday and hope to have once again a more clear picture of what happened.
Mm-hmm. And you had meetings with several high-ranking Armenian officials. As you are well aware, Azerbaijani forces have committed incursions into Armenian territory. Armenian POWs are still being held in Azerbaijan, and even video evidence has surfaced as of late of Azerbaijani soldiers, for example, executing Armenian prisoners of war. Were you presented, briefed about the situation on the border with Azerbaijan?
Well, we already came well briefed. Our parliamentary group is working in Switzerland as well, and because we saw what happened, we came to Armenia. We had today very good discussions with the officials and also with our homologues in the parliament. We discussed what's to do now, what we can do as a neutral state in the heart of Europe, which signs do we have to give, and last but not least, Switzerland is the depositary state of international humanitarian law, and there we have a special responsibility.
And you kind of mentioned it, but obviously it's well known throughout the world that Switzerland is a neutral state and it does not get involved militarily in many circumstances. But if that is the case, how can Switzerland help and support Armenia?
First of all, we have perhaps a little to forget our neutrality, because when we talk about human rights and crimes, there is no neutrality. It has to be condemned. And that's what we are doing. That's the first step. And the second step is we have to perhaps give a podium for peace in a way that peace has a basis. So when we talk about Nagorno-Karabakh, we know that the Minsk format is very weak, Russia is very weak, and perhaps Switzerland has the chance to open new frameworks for peace talks, and that could be another work we can do.
Mm-hmm. And Switzerland is obviously a well-established democracy, even a direct democracy. Armenia is a fledgling democracy. Many would say that Armenian democracy has cemented itself. However, over the years, there is a perception that many observers will say that Azerbaijan is an autocratic state that is behaving very aggressively against its democratic neighbor. Does that play a part? Are you and your colleagues aware of that? What do you think about that narrative?
In every talk we had today, in every meeting we said, Armenia is part of our community of values, of democratic values, and hold on these, stay with these values, and don't leave them. And Well, Switzerland is a very, very old democracy. We have very stable institutions, holy institutions, you could say. But even Armenia, I mean, you had this lost war in 2020. You had snap elections after, and the government survived. So there seems to be a stable democracy. You had elections. You had not a putsch, a new government or revolution. You had elections, and that's a thing we must always say to our neighbors in Europe and say there is a democracy. This is our member. This is the member of the community of values.
And you are a member of the Armenian Swiss friendship group. I'm wondering if you can tell me how you got involved, what does that role entail? And furthermore, obviously, there is an Armenian community in Switzerland as well. Have you had the opportunity to interact with the community?
Yes, of course. We since a long time talk with the diaspora. Of course, we feel also the diaspora. They are very concerned about what's happening in Armenia at the moment. There are also a lot of people from Nagorno-Karabakh in Switzerland, and we hear them, and mostly we feel them. We feel the fear they have.
And I just want to mention as well, the Red Cross is headquartered in Geneva, and it is one of the only international organizations which was present in Karabakh, the former conflict zone. It works with Armenian POWs. It helps Armenian POWs contact their families. It helps retrieve the bodies of fallen soldiers. Are you aware about the good reputation that the Red Cross has in Armenia?
Yes, of course, and I'm grateful that it is recognized in Armenia. But let me say one sentence. We helped the Red Cross in Switzerland, this depositary state, so to say, helps Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia, but that's not enough. What we need is justice. More than help, we also need justice for Nagorno-Karabakh. We need the human rights. We need self-determination. And speaking about the POWs, there is international humanitarian law which is not fulfilled at the moment, and there we really need justice and punishment. And so the courts also have to work, not only the Red Cross.
And apart from the political and the realm which pertains to the conflict, in terms of other spheres, I mean, how would you like to see Switzerland and Armenia invigorate their relations? Would you like to see more economic cooperation, social cooperation? What can you tell us about that sphere?
Well, we had the very first meeting we had today was with our own ambassador, and he briefed us about the cooperation projects they have, especially in the south of Armenia and Munich. And we heard a lot about these agricultural projects, sort of enabling projects for agriculture. And there we have now one line of cooperation, I think, enabling cooperation, and then also trade with these goods that are produced. That's one idea I had spontaneously.
And finally, as you return back to Switzerland, when you meet with your colleagues in the Swiss Parliament, if you have the opportunity, what will you say about the Armenian cause and the Armenian situation right now?
Well, they already know my position concerning Armenia, because I'm the co-chair, co-president of the parliamentary group. So I'm already known as a man who stands for Armenia. They will not be surprised when I say, colleagues, guys, please keep attention what's happening in Armenia, and please use the same law for all countries that have an aggressor against them. So Armenia is not another case than Ukraine, and that's one thing I want to call them in memory more. For that, I hope they will hear it and act.
So, Mr. Müller-Altermatt, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on CivilNet.